You just mentioned it, Ewok. So the ETH gas fees have gotten already out of control. We're not even really in a crazy bull market yet, although we are in a new cycle, it looks like. But ETH gas fees spiked up huge Thursday of last week is when it began, the 9th. They were up well over 100 most of the day, and I've seen that again a couple of days, actually. But specifically last Thursday, though, it was like everybody FOMO'd in. We got like a big pump. The market hit new 2-year highs. That was when Bitcoin wicked up to just over 38K at a couple of spots. So we pulled back from there. ETH went over 2K. Again, everybody kind of FOMO'd into the market, I think, at that time. And that led Richard Hart to tweet that day about Pulse being 10,000 times cheaper all day, which was true. And does beg the question again, like you just alluded to, can and will Ethereum ever fix their fees? How far can they really fix them? And will this marketing will the marketing from Richard to come to Pulse Chain work this cycle? Because I think it will, because I think like his reach is becoming far greater. And as we're going to mention, maybe it'll be a natural transition here, but as we're going to mention, for whatever reason, some of the mainstream content creators and stuff like that for crypto are more supportive of and, more apt to talk about a layer one being Pulse Chain than HEX for whatever reason. So first off, what do you make of what's going on with the market? ETH just, crazy gas fees right now. Will they do anything to fix it? And then that advertising for Pulse Chain as a result of this.
I don't know. I would like to think so. The one thing that's good right now, because they did switch to the proof of stake method, where they are paying the validators and not the miners, right? So I think the miners before had a lot to say about the updates that happened, about the improvements. They didn't want it, man. They were making all kind of money running their miners, and they didn't really want the improvements. They didn't want proof of stake either, really, and that's why they kind of forked off and ended up somewhere over in the ditch. But I think I'd like to think it will. Again, I think it's going to take Pulse Chain adoption for them to wake up and be like, hey, everyone's leaving. They can do it over there for 10,000 times cheaper. And I would like to think that they can throw out some improvements that can definitely help. Now, I think, what was it? The sharding update is one of the ones that they said would improve the gas
I think
fees.
I just sharded right now, actually.
Well, don't shard
I'm
yourself.
I'm gonna have to, yeah.
So, but yeah, and I think that's one of them. I don't know how hard it is. Again, I'm not a coder, so I don't know the difficulty of it. But there's got to be some things that they can do to mitigate some of these crazy fees. You're looking at a couple $100 for a swap. You were looking at $1,000 to end a stake. You were, and this was last cycle. And I don't think they want a repeat of that. I think they want to keep it, somewhat affordable at least. And I think they will. I think they'll try to fix it. Hopefully it happens this cycle. Usually bear markets are a good time for that. So we know they really haven't done many updates in this bear cycle. Once the proof of stake went live, haven't seen a whole lot more. Again, I don't know what they're pushing out. I haven't seen anything, but I haven't heard of any crazy updates. So yeah, I hope they get it fixed. I really do. But it could be good for our ecosystem. Again, I don't know that we really want to push too many fixes because, right now, if we can find a nice on-ramp for people because they are spending so much and be like, look, hey guys, over here, it's a lot cheaper. It's the same damn thing. You probably already have coins that you may not even know about. Get over here kind of thing. I think it'll be good for adoption. So, while it could be bad for us with some longer stakes that may be ending at that point, could be good for the other ecosystem. So you've got to balance it out. Which do you want more? And frankly, we've got the same stakes on Pulse Chain too. So I'm fine. I'm fine with things getting out of whack for a little while.
Right.
In order to benefit our ecosystem on this side. Yeah.
Yeah, I am with you there. Yeah, I saw in the chat and I saw Crypto Coffee say this the other day. He actually said I think he spent 610 bucks on an end stake on ETH the other day. Pulse Chain Gangster said he spent 45 on one the other day. I mean, obviously that's going to have to do with the length of the stake. And if Coffee, I'm sure Coffee's was like a day one, stake
Probably.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are traditionally going to be more expensive. But yeah, I mean that's clearly untenable. I mean, that's not something that you want now for coffee. That may not be so bad, but Jesus, I mean, like for a fee to be that much to end a what
Yeah.
3-4 year contract. I mean that is
1,000 days,
insane.
probably at least. I have a couple that, I made in the early days that are probably about due, within a month or so.
Hmm.
Not looking forward to it, because they're over 1,000 days and every day. So the reason they get so high is because it's performing that calculation. Every day that you staked, it has to know, well, how much did you earn that day times how many T-shares did you have? And it's got to actually figure all of that out. So it is a pretty intensive calculation and you definitely pay for it. You just hope it wasn't a 500 hex stake. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they were too low where it's not even profitable. That being said, if that does happen to you guys, and you want to mitigate the situation, what I would do is rather than end the stake and lose money, take the amount that it would cost you and potentially just buy more. Um, you'll make out better by just purchasing more at these prices than you would spending it to end a stake and lose money. So it's
Yeah.
just something to think about. If you have the money, some people, if it's 500 bucks, not everybody has 500 bucks laying around. If you have a early stake from day 1 or 2, you should have 500 bucks laying around. But
Yeah. You would think
for,
so.
for some of the people that just got in and threw just 100 hex, 200 hex, 1,000, whatever it may be, you probably need at least 10,000 hex at that point for it to be profitable. I would say roughly. I mean, it's just a guess, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a thought anyway. It's take the fee that you would have spent by unstaking and just buy more hex. That
It's a great point. Yeah, I saw Toby Wan bring that up the other day. I think that's a really good point because yeah, just assess the market at the time. And if it's like, well, dude, I could buy more than this on the market right
yeah.
now than ending this stake. Why waste gas fees? If you could just do that. I mean, if you have to pay that anyway. Now, the other thing that you could do, and it depends on like kind of your life circumstance or whatever, is maybe just set an alarm for Saturday into Sunday at like 3 a.m. your time or something like that. And maybe just check what gas fees are like at
Yeah.
that time. But yeah, it is tough. But I think that's a great suggestion, Ewok, and not something that everybody thinks about. So
Yeah, historically, that's about the time. Saturday
yeah,
night, at least Eastern time. 2 or 3 in the morning. You usually would get the best rates of the week, and you have 14 days to end it. So you've
yeah.
got usually at least one weekend, if not two, within that time before it does start to bleed. So keep that in mind.